managed to get it into the driveway. Barely wanted to run, but it's in the driveway now. Can start getting some of the work done. The engine still runs, but not very well. Finish driving it up the driveway. Let's see if it even starts again. No go. Let's see if this battery does it. Yeah, there we go. Come on, don't die. Whoa, let's go. That thing. That's it. Yeah. It's angry. Got some stuff tacked together today. These pieces are tacked in now and we'll extend all the way to the front past the load bearing part of the deck. So at this point this needs to be cut off. This is going to be a mount for another frame mount. The scissor deck to the frame. Got the proper height in the back now. Added in this piece of U channel in order to give it the right 4-inch height, match all the way across. And here, that's the same as that block there and the block up there. So we're level as we can be. That's just tacked into place. This is still loose, that needs to be finished welded, but I only used a little welder to tack this in. I gotta get the big welder out, burn it in hard. This side had to be cut off and lowered a 1/4 inch. It was out. Get the right height for the block, so now we're right height all the way across. Extend it and flat, as flat as can be. Old iron. As you can see, the hinges probably need some work as well. I have no idea how old this is, and I believe it's home built, so hard to say how strong it actually is. Over here, this side is tacked together as well. Once everything's trued up, we'll burn all these in hard as well, but I'm leaving these till last. I might have to flex those rails in and out depending on where the deck lands. I'm pretty sure we should have at least a 1/4 inch between the rail and the bottom rail, either side. We can flex it in just a little bit either way. Then I'm gonna build some blocks up for underneath the front of this. Haven't got the front tank bracket tacked back in yet. It's just sitting there. Just working on getting the scissor mounted to the frame. So that's getting an idea. We have to put some rubber in between here, in between that one, in between the back. Bolted up from the bottom. Already got a hole drilled for that one. Got some more pieces tack welded in. Tack welded a cross member across the frame rails for where the deck comes down. Last should hold it pretty good. Drilled a hole through there so that we can mount it through the hole, original hole that was in the frame from the cube up here. Made a couple mounts that bolt into that cross member there on an angle. once I lay the deck down and put some weight on the rails just to settle everything, I'll tap these in, make it line up good. Either side. Other side here. So the two brackets that I made, cut off, angled so they bolt to the cross member. Slide it in. Holds the frame up at the front, and we got to build something on here to hold the very front, a catch. Build it up, keep it out of the way of the winch. Tack welded this together so it doesn't fall apart again. Need to drag it out and get it finished up. It needs to be burned in. Once these are tack welded on, we'll burn those in. Actually, the whole deck will get welded up once it's all square and true. So, using this just to tack weld everything in. Get out the big welder when we need deep welds done. That down there was done with the big welder for tack welding. I got the deck down now. So, with that down, the weight is now on the rail. Things have settled a little bit onto the suspension with the weight of the deck, and if the weight of a vehicle gets onto it, it's going to push down some more basically on the frame and everything else, and there's going to be a little bit more flex. But what I want to show you is these mounts that I was going to tack weld in when I had it up, but as you can see when it's down, these were set flush to the metal when it was up, right? So as it settled down, the frame settled in, everything settled down, and these actually pulled away. Now if I had welded them on and bolted them on right where it was at, there would have actually been a little bit of tension on this bar against the frame of the truck itself, and when you go to flex, it would have broke the welds. So what we're going to do, because the truck is going to flex once it's on rubber and everything else, and now that everything's settled down on the frame and pushed the frame into place technically, so mount, back mount, frame is settled, this mount needs to actually move up to about the middle now, so it actually fits the middle. So once we tack weld this in, if we actually put a bit more weight on it, it's going to pull on this a little bit, but it shouldn't break. And this will also be on rubber as well. So, but that just gives you an idea of like just the weight of the deck and everything else weighs the truck down and weighs down on the mounts and pulls and pushes, especially when you get more weight on it, right? So if this was mounted out here, we'd actually be far away. So, but I prefer to have it in the middle of this piece of angle iron anyways. And the holes are actually slotted right here. I have a bolt hole in that, so it actually lines up pretty good. We can tweak the bars back and forth a little bit. I think it'll be nice and solid. Old, but solid. The winch still clears. Everything's still got some good spacing. See that mount over there, the space between it? Both of them pretty much equal. Then we got equal spacing here. Going on pretty good. And so far everything seems to be squaring up pretty nice. So I'm thinking I'll get things adjusted up. I'll tack weld this in place. Bolt it temporarily just to keep everything in place, and then raise it back up again. Got more pieces made. That's all tacked in to the frame now, and got these front pieces made. These are actually going to block the frame when it comes down and lands on the rails at the front, where it support the weight on the expanded metal. But I have to make these so that they bolt in. We're going to have these bolt in so they're removable, so that this can slide out if I ever got to do work on it. So we remove those, slide those out. So right now underneath the truck, there's 4 holes in the frame here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I had to draw marks on the bottom side of the steel plates for this front bar, and drill and tap those in. It's going to have 4 bolts holding this header bar to the frame, and then these other pieces will bolt to the frame right behind it. Hopefully it's solid enough, should be solid enough. Basically, if anything comes smashing into the cab, I need it to hold it back. So yeah, that's why these have to be removable in order to be able to slide this out if it needs work. Exciting day today. Some of the metal showed up. Got this piece of 20 gauge. It's pretty thick. It's going to be strong enough. Couldn't afford the 18 gauge. It's actually quite a bit more expensive to get the 18 gauge, so 20 gauge it was. So I got a sheet, 4x8 sheet, 20 gauge steel. But I gotta get this out of the way. Should probably take the winch. Oh no, I'll probably leave the winch hanging there, and then try and form the metal around it. We'll see how it goes. We gotta get the piece of tin bent for around this metal bar. We gotta bring the tin down, all the steel out of the way, all the pieces that were tack welded in place. These are the holes that I gotta drill for the frame down here. Get those set up so that when this piece of tin is in, covering the back in, I can slide this tank back in. Forming a piece of tin, I gotta cut it out of that sheet. It's going to come in and around, following along the bottom edge. I'm gonna bend it over and then down, so it'll have probably about a 6-inch ledge. Once it gets across there, we'll make sure the seats clear, which I think they do. They're turned right now, the swivel seats. Show you those at some point. But yeah, sliding them back and forth, they should clear. I measured out this bar. This bar was too long originally, but cut it off, everything clears. Also got to finish up all the welding. This is only just tack welded together as well, so keep in mind everything is being formed and fitted right now. All final fitment and welding is after everything fits together. So this is where we're at. This winch has 4 bolts through the frame rail, or the body of the chassis here, unibody of the cab. Basically 4 bolts going through, 1/2-inch bolts holding the winch through that side, 4 bolts across the front. But yeah, gotta get this piece of metal in, gotta get this back closed up so I can get the steel in place and cut this edge off straight. So this edge gotta be straight across to fold the tin under. Alright, after much sweat and toiling, trying to get this 20 gauge bent. Oh my god, I'm glad I didn't go with the 18 gauge. It would have been very hard. So I had it pressed in there. I got it pressed in along the edges here, and I marked out the lines basically where it's going to change from the angle on the side there. So I just marked out the lines there. So trimming that out was problematic, trying to get the right height. So Everything's lined up and everything fits down along the edge nice and straight. We got to get these edges cut off, and I need to cut a border along it. So it's about a 1/2 inch border. I figured this stick should work with that much width for an edge, so that when we bring the piece of tin back up here, it comes up to this edge here. Going to go underneath the window frame, come across. I'm not sure if I'm going to notch it out for the next piece of tin. I have to do a little bit of layering. That's a little bit of a height difference there. But going around, this will come off. There's going to be about a stick worth metal that I'll fold into the frame. So I'll fold this piece of metal into the frame there. And then I'll fold this piece of metal up to the frame there. And then this little square spot here is going to get folded up to cover this little area here, so that when I build the outer tin, it's going to come to the right width. You can see where there's going to be a little bit of a gap there. So as this tin comes up, it slowly follows to the top point here, so we'll come all the way down, and that'll be the cap piece. Basically, it's going to cap in this piece, which we'll probably need a weld across here, and then a weld up here, because I have to cut the piece for this loop that comes down underneath the window frame, and depending on this piece right here, needs a little bit of a corner. You can see where I drew the window line, so that much of the frame gets exposed. So my piece of metal has to come in and contour the window just a little bit there. I don't know if I put a little gusset there or not. Don't think it's going to need it. We'll see. Window doesn't have a frame on the inside at this point, so alright, keep going. I gotta measure this out, cut the flaps, get them bent, get it formed, fitting, not welded in, and then get the rest of the pieces made so that final welding can begin. Thanks for watching.